What is up, everybody? ShonnyDman here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are getting ready for the weekend, and also hope you guys are having yourselves a lovely Christmas so far. We are getting close to the 24th and the 25th, and 2023 is quickly coming to an end, and we are, as I say, back with another episode with a brand new guest. So, to get us kicked off and going, tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Kailey. I'm so happy to be here. I am an amateur cosplayer, I would say. I'm also a prop maker, but more than anything, I just love anything nerdy, geeky, video games, movies, all that kind of stuff, since forever. So so happy to be somewhere where I can talk about all of it.
Let me see where we want. So we have been communicating for good about I think about a month. I think about a month now. I came across, I believe it may have been Instagram. I can't remember exactly, or maybe one of the. I think you follow or some previous guests that I have had on. I think they follow you, and maybe they reposted one of your Instagram pictures or something on their story. That may be how I found you. But typically, for those who are watching and listening, I usually come across cosplayers more on Instagram than I do TikTok. But whenever I can find them, I will find them. So
Where there are tons on Instagram, so you're in the right place.
exactly. So you are an amateur cosplayer. Tell us a little bit about that. How long
Mhm.
you've been doing it?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I went to my first convention in 2019. It was Comic-Con, and I had a friend who's been going for many, many years. So they invited me to go with them, and I had never encountered any conventions before. I've never seen cosplayers like in the flesh before. I didn't really even know what cosplaying was, but I had really gotten into Doctor Who at the time. So my friend's like, you should dress up as one of the characters. And so I did, and it was so much fun. And I did something so simple and really, really easy. And it was so funny because on my way there, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this is a crazy costume? What if nobody gets it? And then you walk into Comic Con and it's like people wearing wings and masks and like bazookas the size of your bodies. And it was such a neat experience. And I saw all of these incredible cosplayers. And as someone who is creative, I realized this was like an untapped part of my creativity that I could give it a shot and try it. So I said 2020 is going to be my year. And of course, 2020, the conventions were canceled, understandably so. So 2020 was not my year, but we ended up going in 2021, super last minute. I tried to get a costume together and I just had so much fun with it. And a month later, after New York Comic Con, I went to Anime NYC, and that was the first time that I ever made a prop myself. And I have to admit, myself and my friends, we were like, okay, you're going to make a prop, sure. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I was working with materials I'd never heard of before. I'm not an artist by any means, but I was able to make a scissor sword, like half of a scissor blade. And I was so proud of it. It was just like the most incredible thing to do stuff with your bare hands and make something out of nothing. So ever since then, I just really got attached to it. I do think my love is the prop making, you know, the big swords
Right.
and the blades, the guns and all that kind of stuff. And I always try to purposely make them very kind of outrageous and colorful and fun. And I bedazzle everything. That's kind of like every project or costume I've ever done has rhinestones on it because I just love it so much. I think I realize it's kind of become a part of every costume that I do. So I just like to make things super fun and bright and I guess uplifting because you know day to day we're so stressed like just living in this world, so it's really cool to have an outlet that brings you joy, brings other people joy, makes other people laugh. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I just do it because I love it.
Okay. Okay. So how many conventions have you been to since you know since 2019 up until now? How many have you been to?
I have done, so I've only ever done, I was really lucky to start off with New York Comic Con because I think that's one of it's one of the major ones.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's like that kind of got me into the energy of everything. But I do New York Comic Con every year, and then I got into Anime NYC. And I'm really hoping this coming year, especially, I'll be able to travel and go to like Dragon Con, Emerald City, San Diego Comic Con, you know, all of those other ones across the country because there's so many. And I was in New York, so it was easy to be local. And I
Yeah.
guess it's kind of I need to learn how to like travel with props and ship stuff ahead of time and do all that kind of stuff. So I'll get there eventually, but I want to try to go to other places and just like I think it's a cool way to see the country too, because I'm not a very like traveled person. So I think
Right.
it'll be fun to go around and go to different cities and meet other cosplayers.
Okay. Okay. What's your favorite thing about going to either New York Comic Con or Anime NYC?
Oh, see, that's a hard question because there's a lot of things, but I mean, I'm honestly, I love the cosplayers so much. I think it's such an incredibly encouraging community that I had no idea existed up until the past couple of years. And you think like there's so many cosplayers out in the world that you wouldn't possibly, you know, create such a tight community. But I
Right.
run into people over and over again at conventions, and everyone's so just welcoming and encouraging. And I think the one thing I love too is it's people show you how they made stuff. You know, like I could go up to someone and say, "Oh my gosh, what material did you use?" And they'll go through a step-by-step process of how they do it so that you can do it too. And it's kind of like when someone has a really good recipe for something and they're like, "Oh, well, it's a family secret," or like, "Oh, I don't want to give it away," that kind of stuff. There's none of that in the cosplay community. It's all like, "Let me show you how I did something." Like show me pictures of your progress, like all that kind of stuff. And it's just the energy is so incredible and it's just so encouraging. So I think that's definitely my one of my favorites. But the merch is super good and the booths are amazing. I mean, there's too many things that I love about it. I want to do more panels in the coming years and plan costumes accordingly because I can't like walk into a panel with a big sword. But I definitely want to start, you know, doing that. So
Have you been a part of some panels recently, or is that just something that you want to start doing a little bit more of?
I mean, I'd love to get to a place where I could go on and do them. I think that'd be so fun because I think it's like it's so many accomplished people are there. And for the most part, what I love about the panels is it's people who maybe they went to the convention, you know, every year since they were a certain age, and they finally made it up into a panel. And I think you see that more commonly with the cosplayers too, because everyone starts from nothing. You know, everyone starts not knowing what like Worbla is or how to work with certain foams. You know, everything you have to learn as you go, and it's very
Right.
hands-on. So I think because of that, you just appreciate people's skills more often and everyone on the panel that like all the cosplayers that the panels that I've been to, I mean it's just they're so grateful to be there and they want to get you up there too, so that's something I always found really neat.
So what are some cosplays that you've done in during the recent years?
um well, I just went to Anime NYC and I cosplayed Rebecca from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which was so fun. I had never well I watched the show and then I guess I didn't really get as into it, and then I rewatched it when I figured out I wanted to do play Rebecca, and it was just so funny, and I appreciated the writing so much and the character herself. But I think it's cool when you get to do types of characters that speak to you more because I ran around, not that I was like psychotic or anything, but I kind of had that that air of like, you know, oh, we're making a funny video, and I don't really care if people are watching, and just her just like really fun bright, happy, but also kind of scary, but in a cute way. I don't know, but she was really fun, and she had a lot of like she's you know the color that she wears are typically like her gun's blue and pink, and she wears neons, and I think that was really fun too because I was painting the gun that I made as the prop, and I'm like these are like Miami sub colors. It was like blue and pink, and it was so fun. It was like super bright, and then I added rhinestones. It was super sparkly, so that was really fun. I really enjoyed that one. I think my favorite of the year though was Miss Asgard. I did a Miss Universe version of Loki,
Uh,
and it was for New York Comic Con, which was awesome too because Loki had just come out like 2 weeks before, I want to say. So it was really fresh, and everyone was like, there were so many different variants of Loki, but it was so fun. I have never seen people laugh that hard. Just like walking by and hearing people mutter and being like, "That's so funny," and that's what I want to do. Those are those are the costumes that I love to do the most. Is the ones where people are like, "That's really hilarious." So I had so much fun with that one. I got to wear a big crown that was bedazzled, of course. And I met so many other Loki variants while I was there, and we all became friends. And I got to be on the Marvel socials, which was wild to me, but I was really excited for that. So that's definitely a highlight. But I really love, I do these Miss Universe characters, and
Mhm.
I typically pick villains because I think villains are the best. They're always my favorite.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. Like, would you?
Yeah.
I find villains to be, I don't know, they're just really, really fun. And don't get me wrong, I love a good hero. I love a good underdog. But for me, it's just the villains are always so well written and thought out, and it's just super fun. But so I love to pick villains, and it makes it even funnier when you bedazzle everything then, because I started this I started this idea, and it's kind of like almost like a prom queen too. I think some people thought I was like a Miss Universe queen, some people thought I was prom. It works either way.
Right.
Anyone can interpret it however they want to. But the first one that I did was Miss Gotham City, so I did the Joker. And everyone's like, this is so on par with what the Joker would do if they were actually in a pageant. I'm like, I know, that's why I thought it would be fun, right? It's just like the Joker with this big bedazzled bazooka going to try and win a Miss Universe pageant. And it's like my friends make fun of me because I always have lore, I always have like
Yeah.
who they would be going after, what's their story, how did they get there? Because it just helps me when I'm, spending hours sanding something. It just really helps me kind of get in the head space of where I'm going. But over time, it just got really fun. People really love the pageant idea because it's taking something that wasn't necessarily funny and then just putting it in a realm that's like, oh, this is hilarious. Like, but it's also true. They would totally do this. I did Miss Silent Hill, so I did Pyramid Head, and I made like the giant pyramid head and put rhinestones on it, of course. And then I had the big sword with rhinestones, of course. You see the pattern here. But people, they think it's really funny, and some people don't get it, which is totally fine. Then it wasn't made for you. But the people who do get it, they're just like, that's actually really funny. And it was cute because when I was in the Silent Hill costume, I had kids coming up to me and wanting to take pictures, and like these little girls coming up and seeing the rhinestones with these big, and they'd like, I'd give them the sword to hold, and it was just the cutest thing. And I think it's just it makes these types of characters a little bit more accessible to people who don't like horror, or people who don't necessarily like, the violence or whatever from some of these movies. So
Right. Okay. Okay. So other than cosplaying, you mentioned that you were a prop maker. Is that like professional prop making that you do?
uh, I wish it
Ah,
was professional. I want to get there one day, I want to be able to do it. Right now, I'm at the point where I make stuff for myself. And when I make stuff for myself, if I have mistakes here and there, I'm like, it's fine because I'm making it for myself. So only I can be annoyed with it, right? So I want to get to a point where I have like mastered a certain skill to a degree that I can, sell it to people, because I just don't feel comfortable right now selling stuff that I'm like, oh, but I made a mistake here, and like, I don't want anything to break, whatever. So I'm getting there though. I'm getting pretty close. I just figured out how to make a prop that can be taken apart into two pieces.
okay.
So when I went to go travel to Anime NYC, I had this long shotgun, and I was able to take it apart and put it in my suitcase. And when I tell you, it's like I just won the lottery when I figured that out. I was so proud of myself, and I was so excited because it's something I've been wanting to learn for forever. So just like baby steps, getting to places where we're getting to a place where I feel like, I feel good about what I make, and I love all the stuff that I do. And one of the reasons I love putting rhinestones on everything is because it hides the mistakes.
Okay,
So
that's
if I
fair.
like scratch something, yeah, like if there's a scene that I don't want to show, I'm like, ooh, let me just add a little rhinestone over there and no one will know. And guess what? It works like a charm. No one ever knows what's underneath the rhinestone. So it works really well. So yeah, if someone wants something fully bedazzled, I that's my like favorite headspace. You know, I put on music and or show and I just bedazzle for hours and hours on end. And it takes so much of my patience. But I feel like I've gotten to a point where it's really fun, you know, like now that I don't have anything to bedazzle, I'm like, what do I do with my time?
Yeah.
So I know I need the rhinestones.
Uh, so I know because I noticed when you it looks like you mentioned horror, you love horror, and I
Yeah,
noticed that
I do love horror.
I I agree, horror is great. A lot of my friends are not big horror fans, and so it kind of like,
Mhm.
and if there's like a horror movie that's coming out, I was like, well, I guess I go see this myself because nobody else
Mhm.
wants to. I know because I noticed with some of your posts, you had the Scream mask. So
Mhm.
so I am very curious. So I would assume you've seen all six Scream movies. So I'm very
I have.
curious on how would you rank all six of the Scream movies?
Ooh, that is a wonderful question. It's so hard because I like it's three with Gail's the baby bangs. Like that automatically to me, I have to have it all the way up top because I just love the style in so many of these movies. So I don't know if I'm ranking these in the right way, but I mean, I honestly, I don't know this take that other people have, but I think the first one is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's classic. It got me into it. Um, it's when you first watch it, like when you watch it fresh and you've never seen any of the others, you don't know what to look for. You genuinely don't know, who the killer is and what's going on. So I really loved that part about that aspect about the first one. Second one on the college campus is incredible. I feel like the modern ones though were pretty good. I didn't have high expectations to be honest, because I feel like we're in that culture now where it's like, oh, another remake, and some of them are super well done.
Yep.
Others
Or not.
aren't, and I feel like the ones that yeah, and the ones that aren't, kind of put a bad name on remakes. So
Oh yeah.
pleasantly surprised, yeah. So I was definitely pleasantly surprised with the modern ones. The most recent one was really great. I don't know. Now I like all these, I have like a diagram in my head and I'm shifting all of them over. That's a really hard question. I don't know, like what would you rank as your top three? Because I could probably do a top three. I don't know about the full ones though.
Oh, um, I did it. I did a YouTube short about this a couple of months ago, and it was that and I did one for Jurassic Park, and I'll talk about that one in a second. But
Mm,
both are very controversial with people because for me, for the Scream, because I could tell you all six because obviously number one I had the original, and then number
mhm.
two is the sequel, and then number three I actually put Scream 4 as my favorite.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
and
Wait,
then
tell me why.
I because so it had been a pretty big gap. I can't remember the exact years wise between Scream 3 and
Mhm,
Scream 4. And I never really cared too much for Scream 3. Like, oh, if it's on, I'll watch it, but I'm not all that
mhm,
hyped to watch it compared to the first two. And number 4, it felt like, again, this will go into 4, 5, and 6, where it kind of was fresh ideas. The concept was
mhm,
still the same, but it was brand new ideas that were mixed into it. The kind of like them rebooting it a little bit. They didn't full reboot 4 like they did with 5 and 6, but the
mhm,
concept was there of them. Okay, let's move off from Sydney and let's bring in somebody new. Obviously, that was Emma Roberts.
mhm.
Um, I thought the story was fun. I love having fun when it comes to the rules of horror genres because one of the things I always make fun about, and a lot of people do, is when it comes to black people in horror movies. It's typically they either die first or they die some point towards the end when they're trying to like they sacrifice themselves to let the other characters escape, something along those lines. It's always a running
Hmm.
gag and running funny thing when it comes to Black people horror movies. Um, I just love that stuff. It was just a fresh retake and retelling of the story, but obviously the twist of it at the end was just kind of like, oh, this is good. I like this. That's why I like it. That's why I like number 4 as my third favorite, and then number 5, I think number 5 I actually would have Scream 6, uh, then number and then Scream 5, and then Scream 3. So that's how
Hmm.
I would. That's a 1, 2, 4, 6, 5, 3 is how I'll have it in order. Not saying I don't love 5 and 6. I think those are good. They improved upon the concept that 4 was trying to do, but obviously
Hmm.
we got Jenna Ortega, and I love the twist of I can't remember her name. She played Sam. I believe it was Sam.
Hmm.
That she was related to Billy Loomis, the first killer,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, that is so good. And
And then they brought him back too, which was
they
really, I
did,
mean, granted as like a ghost, but still, it
yeah,
was so cool.
and they did. But then part of me now, obviously, with Scream 7 up in the air, not sure where they're going to go with that. Part of me
Mm.
was hoping what they would do is, and they kind of hinted it at towards the end of Scream 6, but what I wanted was to see Sam either one, her knowing that she's Billy Loomis's daughter and dealing with that identity, or two, her not knowing and her being Ghostface. And it's kind of like that
Hmm.
dual split. She's doing the killings, but she doesn't realize she's the one doing them. I thought that would have been a pretty fun concept. Um,
Oh, that's interesting. That is really cool.
yeah. So
I know. To be honest, I was kind of hoping that it was going to lean towards that because the way that 6 ends when she's I believe I'm recalling correctly when she's holding the mask that
yeah,
was like her dad's mask essentially, and then she dropped it or she throws it out or something like she let goes of it. I I thought that she was going to take it. Like I thought it was going to start
yeah.
something
See,
almost like trigger something in her, you know?
that's what I was thinking too. And then obviously it was all rumors and people have different theories about it, but there was like speculation that Steve, not Steve, but Stu from the first one was actually still alive, and he created this
That'd be
cult with
wild.
Ghostface, and so potentially he could
That'd
have
be really
come back
neat.
to finish it all in the seventh installment. Now I was it gets to a point with me though. If 7 was gonna, if now 7 can still come out, it can still come out. Obviously, things might have changed, but I kind of wanted the end with 7 because you're getting into that territory of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and so
Yes,
it's kind of like
I totally agree with you there. Absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was rumors about, and different theories that people have done on YouTube talk about Stu is he's behind the ghost the cult of Ghostface, and then he's he was like secretly Jenna Ortega's character's dad, and so there's some wild theories about that going on.
Ooh.
So you should definitely check that out.
I absolutely need to. If Stu comes back, the way I would scream in whoop, that's my earbud. The way I would scream in happiness, because I mean, those are it's what it's that dynamic. You're like, oh, the killer, but also like, oh, the killer. You know, like, oh, I
Yeah,
kind of miss them. So that would be really, really fun. I think that would be a blast. Oh my gosh. And I have to say too, the remake, the most recent one, uh, someone who's like lives in New York,
oh yeah,
watching Ghostface tear up a bodega
yeah,
was terrifying, but also so entertaining. My friend, so one of my friends, He's been a horror fan for life. He's a massive horror fan. We were like screaming in glee and terror when we saw that because it's like he's got a shotgun now. And as someone like he's always had either like a small gun or a knife or something, and
Yep.
now he's got it was just so funny. And I loved it. I feel like they played a little bit on like the campy humor
Yeah.
too. They were very aware of that. And I think they played into it in a really neat way because I'm a sucker for a horror comedy,
Oh
anything
yeah.
campy. Like Cabin in the Woods is one of my favorite movies ever. I love it so much because it's so funny but also scary and existential dread like hangs. I don't know. It's just so good. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Because oh yeah, because an underrated show that nobody really talks about that I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it was when they did. I think it came out not long after Scream 4, but it was that Scream TV series.
Yes, that was what was that on like the CW or something?
It
I
was
vaguely
on
remember it.
MTV.
MTV. Okay.
Yeah, I think yeah. Well, I think it was still called MTV at the time. I don't know what it's called now, but yeah, it was on MTV, and I loved it. I loved that little series that they did. They kind of did it. It's on Netflix, I think, but they kind of did like a little reboot. I wasn't really all that
Mhm.
interested in it, but it wasn't Ghostface. It was somebody else, but the concept was pretty much the same. But yeah, I very
Okay.
much I love that series. It was very fun to watch.
Oh, cool. All right, now I have to check it out.
And then what us see. And then Jurassic Park. I've always loved Jurassic Park. Scared me as a kid, obviously.
So funny. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's so funny you say that because I haven't watched Jurassic Park in so long. And then the past 2 days, it's been on television
Yep.
everywhere. So it's like the world wants me to watch it again, I guess. So of course I sat down. I think I watched the third one yesterday. Then I watched the first one and then Jurassic World. I kind of jumped around a little bit, but still, yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, because it was because with that YouTube short of rankings, because it was Jurassic Park, Lost World Jurassic Park, and then Jurassic World. And then I think I went Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Dominion, and then Fallen Kingdom. Uh, but
Mhm.
it's very underrated. But people they got to understand this because I grew up in the '90s pretty much. I was still young when Jurassic Park the first two came out. I was old enough to remember three, but it was like very nostalgic when you're growing up in your 20s or whatever, and you remember the dream of Jurassic Park, and then you see it in Jurassic World. It was just it can make a grown man cry, honestly, because it was
Yes.
just you finally saw the dream made right before your eyes, and obviously
Mhm.
chaos ensues as it typically does. But yeah, I've
Mhm.
always loved the Jurassic Park movies. Sometimes they're not, some of them are not as good, and there are a lot of questionable plot things in it. But other than that, I love good dinosaur movies.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's dinosaurs. And it's so because you say like some of them aren't good compared to some of the others, which I completely agree on. But even the worst one, like whatever the worst one is deemed to be, it's still entertaining. It's
Yeah,
still dinosaurs. Like I'm still gonna watch it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It definitely doesn't, especially with the first one, because even in 2023, the CGI and everything of that first one still holds up to this day. And then and compared to like most other movies that use CGI and it looks crappy basically. But
Mm-hmm.
well yeah, love me some good dinosaur movies.
Mm-hmm.
What are
Yeah.
some other horror movies that you like?
Oh, let's see. I mean, I loved X and Pearl. I thought those were fantastic. And I'm not super big on slashers, but Mia Goth is like the horror queen, so anything she does, I'll watch without a doubt. Um,
I think I've
what
seen it.
else? Yeah, oh, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
well, so what I
Jenna Ortega's
love
in that, right?
about yes, she is. She is. She's an X. It's I just like the behind the scenes story of it too, because they
Mhm.
filmed X on this farm and then they had, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks or a certain amount of time left on the property that they already paid for.
Oh
So they
yeah.
basically said, like, do you want to make a prequel? And they did it in that amount of time. And the prequel is amazing. It's so good. And it just blows my mind that they're able to do that kind of stuff. Like I feel like they just had fun and they made two incredible movies and you can tell that they had fun doing it.
I remember, yeah, because I remember watching. I watched X, but I didn't know anything about it. It was just a random movie that was on. I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And that was actually, I believe that was no, that wasn't the first time I saw Jenna Ortega, but it was one of the movies that I noticed her in before Wednesday blew up and everything like that. But I I actually hated Jenna Ortega, at least the character for a while of that
Oh,
movie.
Insufferable, right? Yeah, me too. Me
Because
too. Um,
obviously for those who are watching who have not seen this movie, they're basically at this farm to make a porno, basically, and uh, Jenna Ortega's character is dating, I think it's like the director of it, and she's just like she wants to do a scene, and I was like, I paused it, and I was just like, I'm sorry, excuse me. And so her character basically wants to have a scene in this porno that's directed by her boyfriend. And I sat there, I was just like, because like afterwards, the whole thing happens. She sleeps with the guy and all that stuff,
mhm.
and the boyfriend's crying in the shower, and he leaves. I said, I would have done the same thing. You just watched your
Yeah,
girlfriend
I know, right?
loud, but so I was just like,
I
I was,
know.
I was
No,
just like,
it's so funny. But honestly, like the ending of it, it's incredible. Like no spoilers, but the ending of it and what happens to her
yeah,
character is just it completes you. I don't know. It just works
yeah. It's
really,
just
really well.
I was just like, it was like,
It makes everything better.
yes, yes. What's another good? I think it's on Netflix, but they kind of did a re. It it's not a rehab, not a remake. It's kind of a continuation, but they have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that's on
Hmm.
Netflix, and I guess because they brought back the same actress that was in the 2000s version remake that they did. I think that's right, but it was fine. The ending kind of pissed me off because it it was pretty predictable because because these
Okay.
characters they get in the car and they drive off, and in my mind I was like, this car is going awfully slow,
Yeah. Oh no.
and I was just kind of like, he's alive, isn't he? And then lo and
Yeah.
behold, the sister dies, and I was just kind of like, that car had no reason to be going that slow as
Hmm.
it did. But I did
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
bus
And
scene.
it's like you notice this stuff too, and you're mad that the characters
Oh
themselves
yeah,
aren't noticing it. You're like, they're like, oh, we're driving at 50 miles per hour. That's totally normal. That's the fastest this truck goes.
just just made me mad because like one, it's a I think it was like an electric vehicle, and like the sister dies.
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing them like trying to escape him in a Tesla or something, and like they didn't charge it. These modern
It
horrors
just
are gonna get
made
so funny with that.
it just made no sense because the sister dies, and then the other one's just screaming as the car is slowly still going, and I was just like, at that point, you could have just gone and got her too. We're like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Yeah, I know. I love the questionable decisions made by horror
oh
characters.
man,
And it's so funny because I'm like, if you think of yourself in these scenarios, I don't know what I would do.
right.
But it's when you're watching it from the outside, you're like, no, very obviously, like he's chasing after you. Run, don't stop. Like that kind of stuff. But I'd probably stop. I'd probably trip. I'd like something bad would have happened. I'm too
Uh,
confident.
Another fun horror movie that I like is The Witch.
Yes, I love the way.
Very,
Oh, so are you an A24 fan? Like any A24 horror you're up for?
yeah, pretty much. If I know it's typically I don't really pay that much of attention unless it's a studio that I am really familiar with. A24 is not
Hmm.
someone I'm familiar with, but I probably more like have watched their like The Witch. I have watched their movies, and I just I really pay attention to the studio.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. The Witch is fantastic.
Oh,
I really do enjoy any like A24 horror because I find that they really go full force with the, artsy cinematic quality of it.
yeah.
And I feel like there aren't a lot of jump scares, which I love. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with jump scares. They're so fun, but also I'm the type of person who watches the horror and then it's like I don't want to be scared right now. I'm like, why did I put this on then? Um, so love-hate relationship. But I do find in a lot of the A24 movies, it's more of like really heavy tension
Oh
and
yeah.
feeling like super uncomfortable. And yeah, like I that's the type of stuff I enjoy. Like I feel like The Nun 2 that recently came out.
Oh, I just watched that too.
And did you enjoy it?
It was it was probably better. The second one is probably better, but I love the horror aspects of the first one.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was just kind of like I don't know exactly what it was about it, but it was just like, I'm not as not scared. I'm not as tense as I should be. But in the first one, there was just because, like, for instance, at the beginning of the movie, you know, the nuns are all being taken out one by one, and you have the last one that kind of hangs herself, but you just see darkness just creeping up, and the lights are going out and everything like that. There are some creepy aspects in the second one, but I think I just prefer the first one from the creepiness aspect more than it. But the second one was just as good too.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I felt like I was expecting a lot more like scary,
Oh yeah,
and it was a lot of just like we're gonna pan really slowly to a dark corner of the room and make you think something's happening on the other. Like they built the tension, I think, really well. I don't think they followed through as much, but
mm,
that being said, there were some scenes in that movie that were really beautiful. And as someone who recently got into horror in the past couple of years, I found a really just a lot of appreciation for the beauty of horror because I feel like it's almost in its own genre of cinematography. And like watching a lot of the A24 horror, like Hereditary, Midsummer, it's just like it's beautiful.
yeah.
It's so scary and uncomfy, but the way that they film it and where they film it and like how they film it, it's just really, really beautiful. It's like you just appreciate the fact that they put so much time and energy. Whoop, keep losing my earbud. So much time, I'm like losing it. So much time and energy into the colors and the way that they shoot different scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I really enjoy horror movies that make me like, depending on whether I'm watching at home or the movies, make me like question things. And so, because like the Nun 2, towards the end, the third act of the movie where they're looking for the eyes and everything like that, you have I forgot the little girl's name. She kind of like keeps panning back and looking at the stained glass window where the
Mm-hmm.
goat is. And then at a certain point, she turns and the goat's gone. I paused my TV and I was like, "Where's the goat?" And then and
Yeah.
obviously it shows up later, and I was just like, "Oh, this is wild. This is just wild."
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that
so
was that was wild.
I think a good example of a movie like from a jump scare perspective, even though you probably should have seen it coming, but if you've seen The Barbarian,
I have not worked up the nerve to see it, but please tell me because I'm so fascinated. This is my
no,
thing.
no,
I'm
you should
fascinated by
watch it.
movies that like I know I want to. I'm like I'm the type of person I'll read through the entire Wikipedia. Like I know the
Oh, I
entire
hate
plot
people
of the
like
movie,
that.
but I know, but I'm too chicken to watch it.
Oh gosh.
I don't I don't want to watch it by myself.
Oh god, it was like 2 years or 2 or 3 years ago, we had like a little Halloween party at my friend's house, and her at her apartment, and she did that because we watched House of a Thousand Corpses,
Mhm.
and she like just read the entire Wikipedia, like just reading everything. I was just like, oh, that just takes the fun out. What are you doing? But
Yeah, sometimes we need to.
I don't
It's
think so.
like I'll give you another example. So I went to Halloween Horror Nights for the first time this past September. I had a blast, right? I'd never gone before. And again, I'm new to horror. I screamed the entire time. Like someone who works there would walk out and be like this way, and I'd be like, oh, I freaked out, but I had so much fun too. So like I was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But I went with two friends, and one of my friends also gets scared very, very easily, but she wanted to experience it and she'd done it before. So she went online on YouTube and watched all of the houses and made sure when I was in the middle of like my two other friends going. So I was, following along and she'd lean and whisper on your left. And right as she said it, someone would pop out, but I was prepared for it. So I didn't, like run screaming down the hallway. But I was so grateful for that because I feel like I would have not I would have just literally run like destroyed the set trying to get out. It would have been very ugly. So I'm happy that she did that.
We
Yeah.
went to a couple of years ago. We had like a guys' night for my a friend of mine's birthday, and we went to a haunted house here in Alabama, and we it was just wild because at a certain point we're going through like this kind of swamp area, and there's like one of the workers there is dressed as a witch. She's yelling at us. We're all looking at her, but then a guy with a chainsaw comes out from our left out of nowhere. Uh, my friend Jimmy, he lost his shoe. I ran into a wall, and it was something. It was definitely
Oh my
wild.
God, did Jimmy get his shoe back?
Bro, I think he did. I think somebody brought him his shoe, but it was just
I would have left it. I would have like walked around Universal Studios like at Halloween Horror Nights without a shoe on instead of going back into the maze. Like that's their shoe now. That's a haunted shoe. They
yeah.
can keep it.
Uh, I love the Conjuring movies.
Those are very, very good. That whole universe is
Yeah,
well done. Well done.
yeah. Let's see, a movie that scared me as a kid. Let's see, Darkness Falls is one. It's about
Darkness
an evil
Falls.
tooth
Uh,
fairy.
oh, I can see how that could be very
Yeah,
terrifying.
very much, very much. It's a thing where like the whole plot of the movie is basically if you look at the tooth fairy, she kills you, and so but she can only
Okay.
attack you obviously in darkness, and
Mhm.
so if you're in your room, if you've seen her, you're in your room, your power goes out, you're more likely dead because she's going to kill you. Uh, it's a movie. It's a movie you should try to find and watch. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun, scary movie.
Oh, I absolutely need to see this now. I don't think I've ever seen an evil tooth fairy, but I am intrigued.
Because they actually do like a little plot backstory about her because apparently, if I remember right, she was dubbed as a witch, and because she would kidnap town people's kids and obviously kill them and take their teeth, and so that's why she was dubbed the Tooth Fairy. And so it's a fun little backstory to go along with it.
Ooh, I love that.
Let's see.
See, I love when like when they take the like innocence of a tooth fairy and they turn it into something
Right.
absolutely like scary and terrifying. I love that so much. It's so good.
Uh, Sinister is
Mm,
a good. The first one's good. The second one not so much, but the first one's good.
hmm.
Uh, The
Yeah,
Strangers.
that's terrifying. Oof,
Love The
that one
Strangers.
scared the crap out of me. Oh,
Oh
it's so
man.
good. Oh my gosh. That last line too, like,
Oh yeah. The second one. The second one was fine. I don't have it, but it's not as good as the first one.
mhm.
Uh,
Are they redoing it like recently? Didn't they? I I could have sworn I saw a trailer or something for another one.
I probably I don't know. I don't because let's see. The second one came out like 2014, 15, 16, somewhere around that time frame, I think.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
see, what is another one? It's another fun.
Have you seen Talk to Me from this year?
I have not. I've seen clips, and I know what it's about, but I have not gotten around to like completely watching it just yet.
It's amazing. It's incredible. And I find it's so fun to see that movie on a lot of people's top 10 of the year. Because
Hmm.
I feel like you don't see, because people love horror, but it's one of those like, you don't see very often a horror winning an Oscar or something like
Right.
that because it's, you know, certain people are like, they hear horror and they won't even watch it. And I used to be like that. And then I saw the beauty in it. And I'm like, no, 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 it's incredible. But Talk to Me, it's amazing. And the super fun tidbit from Talk to Me. So it's an Australian film,
Right.
and we learned. I learned this through a TikTok. The person who wrote Talk to Me, this horror about like ghosts and you know, the other side and that kind of stuff. The person who wrote it is the same person who wrote Bluey, the
Oh
children's
wow.
show.
Oh my gosh.
And I just love that so much. Like the talent to be able to go from those two different genres is just incredible. But it's so funny, right? It's just I don't know. It shows that you can like as a writer, you can switch genres so quickly if you really have a grasp for what you want to write.
A movie that
But yeah.
I watched the other day that came on TV that I have not seen for a while, but it was Truth or Dare. And
Yes, I actually have never seen that full movie, but I've heard thoughts on it. What are
oh,
your thoughts?
it's a fine, it's a okay movie, but the ending just pisses me off,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah.
it's just it's a real kind of like dick move. Somebody Another movie did the exact same thing. I can't remember what the name of the movie, but it was just I hate it what they did. But maybe I'm thinking of It Follows. That's a good movie, very solid movie,
Oh,
very good movie.
that is a very good movie. I recently watched that, or I watched it within the last couple months, I would say, and it's gorgeous. It's so well shot and also just terrifying without really being terrifying, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
that's a, I'm trying to remember all the horror movies that I've seen. Let's see. I went and saw. So uh, I think this was earlier this year, but Evil Dead Rise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was a really I loved that one.
I actually did not like it as much.
I thought it was really campy. And I think
Yes.
because I thought it was campy, I was like laughing at a lot of it, which that's why I loved it so much because it's just like blood and gore
Yeah.
and just all of like disgustingness. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of like campy and fun.
I think that's why I didn't like it. Like the first remake of Evil Dead was fun. It was a fun movie. Obviously, typically I enjoy originals, uh, but the Evil Dead Rise, I they didn't let it cook long enough. They kind of popped it in the microwave and heated it up that way, and
Yeah.
so which is why I probably didn't like it as much.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
just
I totally see where you're coming from with that one. And I love that analogy. They just put it in the microwave. After you said that, I'm like, no, 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 that's on point. Yeah.
uh, like a lot of it too is just like some of the scenes were just like the gory scenes was kind of like gross. Like and
Yeah.
oh
It was,
god, I remember now. I know what
yeah.
pissed me off about the movie is it's how so many people die because the main actress that's possessed, she bites out somebody's eye and then spits it and then it makes somebody choke on the eye, and I was just kind of like, stop, just stop it. That is
I
ridiculous.
know. That's why you have to laugh at all of it. Because I was watching this, I was like, what on earth is happening? Um, the part I mean, one of the things that I loved about that movie though is they used practical effects.
Oh
So
yeah,
part of you as you're watching all of this gore happening, like my brain's going like, how did they do that? like what are they? Is that corn syrup? You know, like where are the prosthetics, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of makes it a little bit more fun because it almost read like a theater production, I guess, the way that I saw it. It's just like
Yeah.
it was a production, but I it was absolutely ridiculous in very many parts of
And
it. So I totally see where you're coming from.
so I was just like, oh, this is wild. This is wild.
Yeah.
Let's see, another good horror movie. I don't know if it's on Netflix still. It's not necessarily a horror movie. It's more of a suspense movie, but it's called Hush. Um,
Oh, I've
it is
heard of that one.
about
I haven't seen it yet.
it's about a I think she's a writer, but it's a deaf writer, and she's being stalked by a killer throughout the entire movie. But obviously, she doesn't know and can't tell where he's coming from because she's deaf. And so the entire movie is just
Hmm.
like because there's a scene in the movie where he kills somebody and notices that she didn't notice it or didn't hear it, and then he just basically stalks her throughout the entire movie. It's a pretty good movie. Then they also have, I want to say it's called The Forest on Netflix. It's about that Japanese suicide forest. Um,
Oh, yes.
I,
Yes.
I think it's primarily a Netflix movie. I don't think it was a movie that was shown in theaters, but it's a pretty fun.
Hmm.
Oh, there's some parts that make you. Ugh, I don't want to meet this person in a dark alley.
Oh, yeah. I love those though. I love that type of horror. You know, like there's a lot of character to the like campy gore stuff like from
Yeah.
Evil Dead Rise, but the stuff that terrifies me the most is the suspension or excuse me, the suspense of the plot and just like monsters are scary, but when you can't see them, it's even scarier. You know, like that kind of horror to me is always what gets me.
Uh, at a certain point of me growing up, and I still love them now, but I really love. I love cheesy B-rated horror movies. Like where it's
Hmm.
just over the top, the blood is corn syrup or whatever. The acting isn't great. I really love those kind of movies. Uh a movie you should check out. I would probably say watch the first one because the more you go down the line of them, they're just not as good as this first one. But you should
Okay.
watch Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. Okay, I'm gonna remember that.
That's probably a movie you may have to like buy off of Amazon or rent off of Amazon or something like that because I don't think it's one that's on any streaming service. Maybe Shutter.
Right.
It could be on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll
Uh,
check it out. That sounds fun though. I
it
love
gives
the
you like
B-rated ones though.
yeah, it gives you like the original Friday the 13th vibes because it I think it came out
Oh,
before
okay.
Friday the 13th. So it gets the
Hmm.
shots and everything is very similar to the original Friday the 13th. Um,
Ah, okay. I love that. I have to check it out.
oh man, what is another good horror movie that I like?
You know, I recently started getting into sci-fi horror, and I'm a little late to the game, but I watched Annihilation,
Oh, that's a good movie.
and it's good. It's really good. And you know what? I heard it's one of those movies where it does the book justice, but
Hmm.
the book is also incredible in its own right. So I
Right.
thought that was really neat because a lot of the time when it comes to adaptations, you don't know, how much the author was involved and where the story was supposed to go versus where it did go, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I feel like Annihilation is one of those where they really did it justice and they put a lot of energy into it. So, and it was terrifying to me. Like it was scary. Some of the beings that they encounter are just like out of this world,
Yeah.
literally. And it's yeah.
I think like for me in that movie, like one of the most disturbing parts was like when they're tied up and that bear comes in, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is like I was scared, but I felt so bad about it because like when it was like roaring at times, you can hear it had like a human voice, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Yep.
it's like it like hurt me a
Yeah.
little bit on the inside. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, that was scary. So before I watched that movie, I was on TikTok like scrolling through and someone was talking about that scene and was just saying it might be for a lot of people it's the scariest scene in the movie for reasons that I understand because it is my scariest scene I think in that entire movie. But oh my gosh. And like I don't think it's a spoiler, but just for those who don't know about it, it's a bear that basically like can take your voice and it will mimic you. So it sounds like a human being. It's just like, oh, and it's really scary. So, but I love it.
Um, I enjoyed uh the Haunting of Hill House and
Mm,
what is the Haunting of Bly Manor.
yep,
I
so good.
this out Bly Manor wasn't at it was creepy. It had creepy moments, but it wasn't as good as the Haunting of Hill House from a horror
Yeah,
aspect. Um, because the way I
I
view
agree with
Bly
you.
Manor is more of a love story than it is
Yes,
a horror.
absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It's like love and grief, but it's
Yeah.
scary too at the same time. It's beautifully done. But yeah, Hill House is, I think honestly, it was the first of its time for Netflix because I remember when that came out, it was like, oh my gosh, Netflix has this really big horror show. And since then, I mean, Mike Flanagan, who creates all of these, I think he did Midnight Mass, which that was incredible. I don't know if you've seen that one on Netflix
I have
yet.
not, but it's been on my
Um,
list.
it's very good. And it's honestly, I wouldn't say it's like scary like Hill House. It doesn't have that horror aspect necessarily, but it's horror in a different way. So it's really, really, really well done though. And then I haven't seen it yet, but he just came out with The Fall of the House of Usher. And that looks
I haven't seen it either, but I've
fantastic.
heard about it.
I heard it's fantastic.
Do you do any kind of like horror gaming?
I do. I have to do it with friends though because I get so scared I like throw
Gosh.
my controller. What I used to do is I would record it. I would play horror games and record it because I was scared to death. So my reactions were just incredible. And I
Oh
wouldn't really
yeah.
go put it anywhere. I would send it to my friends and they would like pee themselves laughing so hard. But I started with Alien and Alien was super fun. That was very scary in my opinion. I was terrified of that game. And I think it had a capability where the monster could hear you through a mic. So with
Oh
my
really?
heavy breathing and my screaming,
Oh
I
my
was
god.
easily found all the time. So I just hid in vents for most of that game. So I spent my time in a locker or an event.
Oh, Alien Isolation.
But yeah, Alien Isolation. So that was really fun, but still a very, very great game. And then what else? I mean, I did Dead Island for a while, but to be honest, I got so attuned to it. I was like, this isn't really scary anymore because it's during the day.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, just these little zombies running around. Um, and recently I did Resident Evil 4, the remake, which is so good. It's so, so, so good. It's so dark. And I'm talking like physically, I was like staring at the screen. I couldn't see anything. And I think that's what makes it funnier too, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm running from. I just hear something behind me. But that game is that's a really great game. I mean, it was, and they remade it to be incredible and like up to today's graphic standards, which was awesome.
You you need to check out so you need to check out Until Dawn.
Oh, I've heard of Until Dawn. I need to play it. I know I need to.
Uh the Dark Picture Anthology series.
Okay.
The Quarry is fun.
I have the Quarry. I haven't played it yet though.
Oh,
So
it's
this
fun.
might be
It's
my
very
sign
fun.
to play it. Yeah.
If you love
I love
games,
those games like oh sorry, you go.
no, if you like games that kind of like the outcomes are based off your choices when what you decide,
hmm
those games are like that. Until Dawn, the Dark Picture Anthology, the Quarry, those games are like that.
I love those games because I genuinely I try not to put research in before so I know what to choose. because I have been known to do that.
Oh my gosh,
I
you just
just
took the
played,
fun out of it.
I know, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm trying to be better with it because I'm always like, I just want the best outcome. Like, I want everyone to be safe and happy and in a field of rainbows. I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, which I loved, and I was just trying to figure out like the best path to romance people. So that's what I would research. Like,
Oh
what
my
do I
gosh.
answer to make them like me? Um, so with horror, it's more like I just want to make sure we all live and survive, but that's also not what horror is and how it works. So I won't be researching anything. I'm just gonna play it, and if I die a terrible death, it is what
Um,
it is.
Phasmophobia. That's a fun game.
Yes, I have yet to play that, but it's also I see it's so funny. I think during like a Steam sale, like one of their annual sales, I just picked up all of these horror games, but I'm so chicken. I'm like, I can't play it by myself. But I want to. But there were some that I did play by myself. I'm trying to think of what was the other one? Amnesia. Have
Oh,
you
that's a good
played
game.
Amnesia?
That's a good game.
Yeah, that was scary. And I'm proud of myself because I did that alone. I would play at night just to scare myself even more. But that was a little weird, but not in a bad way. It was just like some things happened in that game, and I was like, what? Like what is happening? But it was a lot of fun.
Let's
Uh
see. There's one horror game where like I can't remember the name of it, but you're kind of like you work at a funeral home and you are like having to like embalm patients and stuff like that. I can't remember the name
yes.
of it, but you're being haunted throughout the entire
I
game.
I know what you're talking about. I watched a review on it and it looks terrifying, but it's one of those where it has different endings too, which is
Yep.
really fun. So yeah, I did watch a gameplay, I promise. The only gameplay I've ever watched through is in Dead Space because I was too terrified to play
Oh
that
my
by
gosh.
myself. So I watched Markiplier play it and it was fine in like 24 parts. But yeah, no, I want to play that. The funeral one sounds really, really interesting. It's kind of like it gives me like an Outcast vibe
Mhm.
because I played Outcast for a little bit and then that got really scary. Do you know what helps me though? And he doesn't do it anymore, but Conan O'Brien used to do Clueless Gamer, and he did one where he just go through and play games that he'd never like. He's not a gamer, so he doesn't know how to play any of them. And he did a horror episode, and it was Slenderman, Amnesia, and Outcast, and he just had so much fun. And after watching it, I'm like, I could play these games,
Yeah.
I could be scared. And but he played Outcast and that got me to play Outcast because every time I got really scared, I just thought of the stuff that he encountered in the game and it made me feel so much better. Yeah, but
I
no,
need to
those are
play
fun.
I need to get Lethal Company.
Yes.
That's been blowing
I
up
had
all
yet
over
to play that
TikTok.
one, but yeah,
So
that absolutely has. That and Alan Wake too, the second one that it was I think it won at the Game Awards recently or like it was nominated for a bunch of stuff.
yeah, the Game Awards kind of like very much pissed a lot of people off in some aspects. So
I
very,
heard. I know. So
very
I wasn't like that super invested in it.
oh, I wasn't either.
Because yeah, I haven't played Baldur's Gate yet because I was waiting for it to go on sale.
Oh yeah,
So when it does, I'm there 100%. But I heard a lot of people were salty over Spider-Man 2 not winning anything. And just like the back and forth debates
oh yeah.
on TikTok of like people stitching, it's so fascinating because I love getting these perspectives.
Uh, yeah, because like Spider-Man was nominated for 7 different awards and it didn't win any of them. Where it probably could have won, it probably should have won a few. I can't remember the exact categories
Mhm.
of those nominations, but I mean, there were just a lot of good games that came out this year. I mean, you had Spider-Man
Yeah.
2, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Tears of the Kingdom. Uh,
Hmm.
and there were and just a few others. So I mean, obviously it was, but yeah, I have not played Baldur's Gate 3. Again, I also like to wait till it goes on sale on Steam before I even
Yeah.
buy it. So,
Yep. I got you. Yep.
and then there was what was it? but yeah, it was just. I mean, from what I've seen from Spider-Man 2, it looks like a very fun game. It's just
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
seems fun.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was just wild watching all that go down. I was like, oh my gosh, you people are
I know,
nuts.
it's funny. I'm playing through the first Spider-Man because I hadn't played it before. So I think it came out in 2022. So I'm playing through that one right now and I really enjoy it. I think it's so fun. And even just like if there were no objectives and you can just swing around New York, it's still a blast.
Yeah.
And it's like every review that I've seen of the second one, it's like you're literally just swinging through New York City. Like, how is that not fun? That's just got, it's going to be enjoyable. And it is. It's so fun. I love it.
And so, because I remember now because I got excited because I was just scrolling through Twitter and then I saw a new Jurassic Park game that's coming out that I'm very excited for. Jurassic Park
Yes.
Survival, and just based on because apparently I didn't know this because I don't really keep up with stuff like this, but this was a game that was like originally was supposed to come out in the early 2000s, but it just kept being canceled and canceled and canceled. Then now we're finally getting it next year, and I was just like, I'm excited.
That's going to be really good. I screamed when I watched that trailer. It looks so well done
Yeah,
first too. Like the graphics look incredible. But also I feel like so many people are excited about it because it looks like it's going to be a horror survival. Like
yeah.
it's going to be scary, you know? It's not going to be like running a park, which is fun in its own right.
Oh yeah.
But this one is like the literally in like the movie, you're in one of those scenarios. So I think that's going to be really, really fun. And I'm going to scream a lot, which I'm so excited for.
Oh man, what are some other good horror games that I've played? I played the first episode of Fears to Fathom the other week.
Oh, okay.
It's like an episodic series. I think you might be interested in
Hmm.
that. I have to. Let me see. I could probably. Oh, you're on your. Well, I could probably go ahead. Let me send you because like it's wild. It was such a wild and fun game. Let me see.
Oh my gosh, yes, please. Those are my two biggest descriptors for a game. If someone says it's fun and then it's also wild, I'm in. I just I want that, you know, I need that.
Where are you at? Oh, here it is. Because I was just like, because this was like towards the end of the game, and it like freaked me out. I was like, what the heck? What is this? I don't like this at all. Because like the first episode, so it's like 4 episodes. So far it's 4 episodes. But the first episode is like you're home alone. You're like a teenager and you're home alone, and
Hmm.
there's like a point where like you're just kind of going throughout your afternoon, your day. Um, you're eating, and there's a point where you're upstairs studying, and then you go downstairs to go do something, and your door is open. And like when that happened to me, and I was just like, I'm I don't remember that door being open. And so I went and closed it. I was just like, I don't remember that door being open. And then like you go upstairs, study some more, and you come back downstairs, and then your TV is on. And I mentally I was just like, I did not turn that TV
Mm-mm.
on. That TV should not be on. And then like because like during this time too, like your mom, like you're getting text messages from your mom, your friends, and things like that. And I was just like, I don't like this. So
Those games are scary. I love when it's like it's normal and then all of a sudden it's not. And
right.
I think that's the stuff like it's so scary, right? Because that kind of thing where you're just going about your day and then you notice these like a door being open or a TV on. I don't know. That's oof, I don't
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh. Because there's a clip of the fourth episode that's going out that was been going around on TikTok where like you're on this watchtower and you have that camera and you zoom in and it looks like a bunch of KKK members. And it's funny because you take a picture of them and the flash is on and then the NPCs see the flash. And so it was just, oh man, it's wild.
Oh my, I think I know what you're talking about because I saw a clip like that on TikTok. I
Yeah.
was like, oh
So
my, that type of with the game almost like the developers know what you're gonna do and And it like, they just throw stuff for a loop, like with the flash being on or with the mics, and they're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
a monster can hear you, so you better not make a sound. Meanwhile, like heavy breathing. So I like when they mess with you like that.
because I remember playing I remember playing Phasmophobia, and we were investigating this one house, and we're in the garage, and we're just like calling the ghost or spirit's name, and then it like passed directly in front of my character's face, and I was just like, I'm out. No, I'm out. We're
Yeah.
not doing this. We're
No,
done. We're done.
no, we're done. The way I would like run to another room so quickly, I would try every horror game that I'm in since that I play, since I loved Alien Isolation, but I would always hide an event. My friends, like, we always joke whenever I play, like I could play Resident Evil. I'm like, where's the event? Give me the event. I need to go hide somewhere, please.
It's just wild,
Yeah.
wild. Oh man, let's see
Mm.
what other fun horror games have I played?
I know. I'm trying to think because there are so many that I've just watched on
Right.
YouTube because I'm too chicken to play it. There was one that I saw where you're running like or you work at a gas station, and it's very like old school graphics, but that kind of adds to the
Oh
scariness of
yeah,
it because but that looked really freaky. But it's one of those, it's kind of like that with in the house where you're just kind of going about your day and then all
yeah.
these weird things start happening and then all of a sudden you're running for your life. So it's one of those types of games
Oh, I
and
wonder if those
those
are
are
on
just so
sale.
scary.
I know you just missed that,
Oh.
but I just realized I wonder if those are on sale. I'm curious. Uh, but yeah, I need to play those other ones, so I'm very interested to see if that's on sale. I mean, they're pretty cheap. The Fears, the Fathom games, they're
Yeah.
like I think the first one's free. You can play the first one for free, and then the other
Oh,
three, like
nice. Okay.
combined wise, it's like $11.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So it's scary and accessible. Um, how long does it take to play through each episode? Just out of
So
curiosity.
the first, it varies. So the first one is like 20 minutes,
Okay.
but then I've seen where people play the fourth one is over an hour. So
Okay.
it varies apparently. So, but I'm like, okay,
Okay.
because it's let's see, it's Home Alone. There is Iron Bank Lookout, Norwood Hitchhike,
Oh, that
and
sounds scary.
oh, you know what? I think it is. Maybe this is. Let me see. I think this might be. I think this is one of them you're talking about. Let's see. Carson House. Oh wait, never mind. No. 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 Okay, something different. Okay. Ooh, now see. Now I'm invested in playing these. I got to play the rest of these. So, um, yeah, we need to find. We need to find some horror games to play together now.
I think that's a great idea. That would be very funny.
Oh, see now I wish there were like clips that we could see of you being scared in horror games.
Oh my gosh, I can find some and send some to you because they're on my phone somewhere. I have so many. I did like compilations of me just absolutely losing it. My friend and I played Resident Evil, and it was really funny because there was this one point where, and by like we played, I played, and he watched because it's more
Mhm.
entertaining to watch me be
Oh yeah.
completely scared. So I we were in like some village, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, what is that sound? Like something's, and I'm looking around, I'm like, it sounds like something's close to me, but I don't know, I don't see anything. And so I was walking for a good 5 minutes hearing the sound. All of a sudden I turn around, there's a zombie on my ass, just like trying to come after me. And I screamed so loud. And it was the funniest thing because we were just walking around for 5 minutes, not knowing it was right there. So I have moments like those that it's just really funny. But yeah, I'll find some and send some to you because I got some from like Dead Island where I'm literally like, out of frame, get me out of here, please.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah, it's a good
man.
time.
So you
It's
guys.
entertaining for everyone.
Oh yeah. So I guess that's something you guys watching can look forward to in 2024. Us playing some horror games together. So that's definitely
Yes.
something we will figure out how to do. But all right, guys, that is where we will end this week's episode of Nerd Talk. So much fun. Had a good time. For those listening on or those who are watching on YouTube, you guys know the drill. Up on screen now should be a image that will show you how you can follow and support. But for those who are listening on podcast, how can they follow and support you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Kale Carps and mainly do all of my content there. So hopefully we'll switch over to YouTube to be able to show all my prop making and stuff like that. But for now, Instagram's our big one.
All right. So be sure to give her a follow, show her some support, and you guys have, a good start to your weekend. Expect some fun videos. Since we are winding down with 2023, I haven't really decided on some. I am planning on taking some time off for the holidays, but I believe next week we are starting our playthrough of Ultimate Spider-Man from the PlayStation 2 era. And that will be what we do to round out the rest of 2023. Then I'll take a couple weeks off and be back 2024. Fun ideas that I got going on. So obviously you can expect that we'll have her back on. And so for some fun gaming as well.
Oh my
But
gosh, yes, please. That was so fun.
But other than that, you guys be sure to go and follow her, hit that like and subscribe button, comment below, and we will see you guys in the next video. See ya.